Hello, dreamer, and welcome to the Sleepy Dreamer. I'm here with you in the soft side of the day, where the rooms grow quieter and even your thoughts begin to walk on tiptoe. Let your jaw loosen, let your shoulders lower by a small, honest amount. Notice how the bed receives you without question, without needing you to do anything at all. Take a slow breath in, not a perfect breath, just a real one. And when you let it go, feel how the air leaves you the way a tide leaves a shore, unhurried, certain, and calm. Around you, the night has its own gentle temperature. It touches the skin on your hands and the quiet behind your ears. Maybe there's a faint sound somewhere, a fan, a distant road, a clock that doesn't demand attention. If there is, you don't have to name it. You can let it be part of the darkness. Like a small lantern far away in fog, the room holds still, and you are allowed to be still too. If your mind is busy, that's all right. Minds do that. They carry little lanterns from one thought to the next, searching for a place to set them down. Tonight you don't need to force anything. We're going to give that searching a wide sky to wander in, until it naturally grows tired and folds its light away. So imagine very gently that the ceiling above you thins into darkness, not suddenly, not like a switch, more like fabric becoming sheer, a soft veil lifting. And beyond it, the night opens like a slow breath, deep and cool, filled with distant points of light. Stars, not the idea of stars, the feeling of them, small, steady, patient. The sky does not rush, it never has. It has been learning the art of waiting for billions of years, and it practices every night. You can practice with it now. You can let your attention rest on one imagined star, a pale bead of light hanging in black velvet, as if it has always been there and always will be. It doesn't flicker with worry. It simply shines. Far from here, far beyond the reach of roads and rooms, a star is a place where matter holds itself in balance. That is one of the quiet miracles of the universe. A star does not need hands to keep it together. It does not need ropes. It does not need walls. It is held in place by two invisible intentions that meet in the middle like palms touching. One intention pulls inward, gravity. The other presses outward, heat and pressure and light. You don't have to picture equations. You can picture a slow, steady embrace. Gravity, gathering the star toward its own center, and inside that gathering, a warmth that pushes back, not angrily, just faithfully, like a heart pushing blood through a body, again and again without applause. In the core of a star, atoms are pressed close, so close that they begin to change. The simplest atoms, hydrogen, can join together under that pressure and become helium. When that happens, a little bit of mass becomes energy, not because of drama, because of nature, because the universe has a way of turning weight into light and keeping the night from becoming too empty. This is the star's long work, fusion, and it lasts a very long time. Some stars glow for millions of years, some for billions. The star does not think of time the way you do. It doesn't count hours. It doesn't dread endings. It simply holds its balance moment by moment in a slow conversation between gravity and fire. As you lie here, breathing, you can borrow that steadiness. You can imagine your own body as a small system of balance. Your lungs expand, your lungs release, your heart presses gently from within, then softens, outward, inward, inward, outward. Not a battle, a rhythm that has always been yours. The night sky, in this dream, is wide enough to hold any leftover tension. If there's a thought that keeps tugging at you, Let it drift upward like a small paper lantern. Let it float toward the stars. You don't need to solve it. You don't need to chase it. The sky is good at holding things without gripping them. And if your mind wants a place to settle, give it the image of starlight travelling. Light is one of the gentlest travellers in the universe. It does not hurry. It does not tire. It simply moves and moves and moves, crossing distances so large the human mind can't quite hold them, and still arriving as a soft brightness on an imagined eye. Some of the light you see in the night sky began its journey before you were born, before your grandparents were born, before your earliest stories were written down. It has been travelling through cold emptiness, through thin dust, through the quiet between worlds, carrying news of a place where gravity and pressure are still speaking to each other. And here you are, receiving it, without effort. In the dark, your eyelids can feel like warm curtains. Your eyes don't need to perform tonight. You can let the world be sensed in softer ways. The sound of your breath, the touch of fabric against your skin, the subtle weight of your blanket like a calm hand resting there, telling your body it's safe to release. There is something comforting about the scale of stars, not because they are big, though they are, but because they remind us that not everything is urgent, not everything is sudden. Many things are slow. Many things become patiently, over long stretches of time. A star does not wake up one morning and decide to be a star. It forms gradually from clouds of gas and dust drawn together by gravity like a dream being gathered. The cloud turns, it tightens, it warms, and when the centre becomes dense enough and hot enough, fusion begins and the star is born into light. Even beginnings are gentle when seen from far enough away, and endings too are often written as slow transitions. The universe has a way of changing form the way the ocean changes its surface. It is always moving, yet it rarely panics. It rarely snaps. It folds. It flows. It reshapes itself in quiet obedience to the laws that hold everything together. Tonight we're going to follow one of those transitions. We're going to drift toward a star that has reached the far end of its long balance. Not with fear, not with noise. With the kind of calm curiosity you might feel watching snow fall in a lamplit street, each flake arriving without argument, each one simply becoming part of the world. But for now, we stay in comfort. We stay in the beginning of listening. Imagine yourself lying beneath a vast dome of night, not as a small creature, but as part of the same universe that made the stars, because you are. The atoms in your body are older than your name, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of it came from places that were once bright and hot and alive with nuclear fire. This is true, and it is also soothing when held gently. You're not separate from the sky. You're not a stranger here. You're made of the universe's materials, arranged into a life that can feel and notice and rest. And rest is important. Even stars rest in their own way. A star's rest is balance. It is the quiet truce between inward pull and outward push. And while it lasts, the star shines. It sends out light in every direction, like a steady sigh. It warms the planets that circle it. It helps chemistry happen. It keeps darkness from becoming too complete. Sometimes, when you look at a star, you're seeing a story that is still in progress. A story that began before your language and will continue long after. That is not meant to make you feel small. It is meant to make you feel held. Because the story is bigger than your worries, and it can carry them without breaking. So let your worries be carried. Let them be small for now. There are different kinds of stars. Some are modest, like our sun, burning gently, living long. Some are massive, burning brighter, living shorter. The more massive a star is, the harder gravity squeezes its core, and the harder it is squeezed, the faster it burns through its fuel, like a candle in a strong draught. But even when a massive star burns fast, it still takes millions of years to change. Millions! That number is so large it becomes almost musical, like a hum that goes on beneath everything. The star has time to build layers inside itself. It fuses hydrogen into helium. Then, in deeper heat, it can fuse helium into heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, neon, silicon, step by step, as if it is learning new notes in a slow song. Each step requires more heat, more pressure, and gravity is always there, pressing inward, making the core a place of immense density. The star is like a giant breathing machine, inhaling itself, exhaling light, inhaling itself, exhaling light. Not because it wants to, because that is what matter does, when it is gathered and heated and given time. As you breathe now, you can feel the simplicity of it. Breath in, breath out. No need to accomplish anything else. Your body knows this rhythm the way the universe knows gravity. You don't have to instruct it, you only have to allow it. If you like, place your attention on the sensation of air passing through your nose, cool on the way in, slightly warmer on the way out. That warmth is your life, meeting the night. It's a small exchange and it's enough. The star we're imagining, far away, is also exchanging with its environment. It releases light, it releases particles, it releases heat into the cold, and the cold receives it. Space is not empty, not truly. It is a thin sea of fields and photons and dust, a place where even silence has texture. In that wide sea, our star hangs like a lantern that has been burning for so long it feels eternal. But nothing in the universe is eternal in one form. Form changes, patterns change. Even stars, those ancient bright ones, have a life cycle. A beginning, a middle, a gradual lean toward an ending that is also a beginning for something else. You don't have to hold all of that at once. Tonight, we take it slowly. Let the star remain steady for a little longer in your mind. Feel its patience. Feel its warmth from far away, imagined as a faint glow on your face, like moonlight through a window. You can almost hear the quiet of it, not a sound exactly, more like the feeling of a steady presence. Now notice how your own thoughts too can be steady presences. You don't have to chase them. You can let them sit beside you like small animals that have wandered into the room. They can be there, and you can still rest. The universe does not demand perfection. It only demands participation, and you are already participating by breathing, by listening, by letting your body sink a little deeper into the bed as if the mattress is a gentle landscape receiving you. If there's a tightness somewhere, in your chest, your stomach, your brow, you can soften around it, not to force it away, just to make space. Let the tightness be a stone at the bottom of a pond, and let your breath be water moving around it. The pond is still, the stone is still, and yet the water is always kind. As the night holds you, the star holds itself. Inward pull, outward pressure. This is the fundamental lullaby of stellar life. The outward push comes from heat created by fusion. That heat creates pressure, and pressure pushes against gravity. So the star does not collapse. It stands in a sense, it holds shape, it glows. This is one of the simplest true things we can whisper about stars. A star is a balance between gravity and pressure. That balance can last for unimaginable lengths of time until the fuel changes and the conversation between forces shifts. And that shift is not a moral story. It is not punishment. It is physics, which can be strangely comforting. Because physics does not judge, it doesn't criticize. It simply describes how the universe behaves, the way a lullaby describes sleep. Gravity pulls, pressure pushes, energy flows, time passes, forms change. You can let those truths be as gentle as they are. You can let them be background music, not homework. Somewhere above your imagined horizon, the star continues its slow work. Inside it, atoms meet, merge, and release energy. Each fusion reaction is tiny by itself, but there are so many happening all at once that the star becomes a vast choir of microscopic events singing light into the dark, and still, from far away it looks like a calm point, a single, steady dot. That is how distance can soften things. That is how the night can make even immense power feel quiet. You may notice in your own life that distance can soften your thoughts too. A memory that felt sharp in the moment becomes gentler with time. A worry that seemed enormous becomes smaller after sleep. Tonight, we are making distance. We are stepping back into a cosmic perspective that does not erase your feelings, but gives them room to breathe. And as that room opens, the idea of change becomes less frightening, because change is everywhere, and it is often slow. Stars change slowly, galaxies change slowly, even mountains change slowly, grain by grain, through wind and water and time, and you too are allowed to change slowly. You're allowed to unwind at your own pace. Now, in the darkness, let your imagined star become a little clearer. Picture its light as a soft gold, not harsh, not blinding. Picture the space around it as deep blue-black, velvet and cold. Maybe there are other stars nearby, scattered like quiet seeds. Maybe there is a faint mist of starlight. The Milky Way is a pale river across the sky. If you can hear anything in this imagined scene, it's not noise, it's a hush, a wide hush. The kind of hush that makes your heartbeat feel like a friendly metronome. The kind of hush that tells your nervous system it can let go. In that hush, we can begin to sense something else. The slow inevitability written into the star's core, not as doom, as a natural next step. A star's fuel is not infinite. It is generous, but not endless. And when a star has fused lighter elements into heavier ones, it reaches a point where fusion can no longer provide the same outward pressure. This is the beginning of the question we will follow. But we do not rush toward it. We let the question arrive the way sleep arrives, gradually, softly, with a shift in the air. So feel the air again, in your real room. Feel its temperature. Hear its faint hum or its silence. Let that be your anchor. And from that anchor, let the sky remain open above you, as if you are safe inside the universe's own wide breathing. The star is still shining, still balancing, and you can sense without fear that even balance is a kind of motion, a constant adjustment, a quiet effort, not frantic, not exhausting, just ongoing. You know this. Your body does it all the time. It balances warmth and cool. It balances wake and rest. It balances attention and drifting. Right now, it is beginning to tip gently toward drifting. Your eyelids are heavier. Your thoughts are slower. And the star far away continues to glow like a calm ember in an endless hearth. If you could touch the starlight, it would not burn you. Not from this distance. It would feel like cool silk, like a faint warmth that doesn't demand, like a memory of summer held in winter air. And perhaps that is why looking at stars has always soothed humans, because they are distant and steady and indifferent to our small storms. They remind us that the universe can be vast and still gentle, that time can be long and still kind. So let the stars' steadiness become your steadiness. Let the night's patience become your patience. In a little while, we will drift closer to the moment when the stars' balance begins to change. We will watch from a safe distance as gravity slowly becomes the louder voice. We will witness a transformation that seems dramatic when described quickly, but becomes almost tender when seen in slow motion. But for now, remain here, in the opening quiet, in the place where the night begins to listen. Let your breath keep moving, soft and simple. Let the room keep holding you. Let the sky keep shining above you, and as your thoughts thin and your body sinks, keep one gentle image in mind. A single star, steady in the dark, glowing as if it has all the time in the universe, breathing light into the night, as if the night itself is breathing back. The star remains where it has always been, steady, balanced, quietly luminous against the dark. Yet if you linger with it, if you listen the way the night listens, you begin to notice something almost imperceptible. Not a sound, not a flicker, just a subtle deepening, as though the star has drawn a longer breath than before and held it. Inside, the rhythm has changed by a fraction so small it would escape notice if you weren't paying attention. For a very long time, the star's core has been busy turning hydrogen into helium. Each fusion releases energy, and that energy becomes pressure, pushing outward against gravity's inward pull. This is the agreement that has kept the star open, glowing, spacious within itself. But fuel is not an idea, it is a substance, and substances slowly change. Hydrogen becomes less plentiful in the core. Helium gathers there, heavier, quieter. Fusion does not stop, but it shifts. The reactions that once happened easily now require a little more pressure, a little more heat. The star does not resist this change. It does not argue. It adjusts. Gravity, always present, always patient, feels the adjustment immediately. Gravity does not sleep. It does not forget. It simply waits for moments like this, when the balance tips just enough for it to lean a little closer. You can imagine gravity as memory, not memory of events, but memory of direction, a knowing of where things belong. As outward pressure softens, gravity begins to gather the star inward more firmly, not suddenly, not harshly, just enough to be felt. The core contracts by a small degree, heat rises. The star brightens briefly, then settles. This tightening happens slowly, like hands drawing a blanket closer around a sleeping body. The star is not collapsing yet. It is concentrating, becoming more intimate with itself. Layers inside the star respond one by one. Helium in the core begins to fuse into heavier elements. Carbon forms. Oxygen follows. Each new fusion stage burns hotter, but for a shorter time. The star is moving through its remaining options with quiet efficiency. Outside, nothing looks alarming. The star still shines, still holds its place in the sky. But inside, the rhythm has shifted from endurance to transition. Imagine the feeling of staying awake past your natural hour. You can still function, you can still move and speak, but something inside you has begun to lean toward rest. effort costs a little more. Stillness becomes more inviting. The star feels something like that. Gravity continues its gentle insistence. Matter presses inward. Space between atoms shrinks. Motion becomes more crowded. The core grows denser, warmer, more focused. Light from the star's surface changes subtly, reddening as the outer layers respond to the deepening pull. Heat moves inward. The star's glow softens at the edges, even as the center grows more intense. Sound, if it existed here, would be muffled. Everything is turning inward, listening. This is not a failure of strength. It is the natural end of a long balance. When fusion reaches iron in the core, something important happens. Iron does not release energy when fused. It absorbs it. This is a quiet but decisive truth of nuclear physics. Iron is a kind of full stop for stellar fusion. The star does not panic at this discovery. It simply continues following the rules. Without energy from fusion to push outward, gravity finally becomes the dominant voice. The inward pull that has always been present now moves without resistance. The core begins to fall into itself, not as a crash, as a yielding. Matter accelerates inward, drawn by gravity's unwavering memory. Temperatures spike. Densities climb beyond anything the star has known before. You can picture this inward motion as a long exhale, the kind you take when you finally stop holding yourself upright and let the bed receive you fully. Pressure increases with every moment. Electrons are squeezed closer to nuclei. Space itself feels tighter. The core becomes a place where ordinary rules begin to blur. And still, there is no drama in the universe's tone. No alarms, no sharp edges, just inevitability. The outer layers of the star begin to feel the loss of support from within. They start to follow gravity inward as well, cascading toward the center, like slow-moving waves. The star is folding itself carefully, precisely. This is the moment gravity remembers itself fully, not as a destroyer, as a gatherer. It has always known how to do this. It gathered gas into stars long ago. It gathered dust into planets. It gathers you gently against the earth even now, holding you to the bed, keeping you from drifting away. The star surrenders to that same force. The core collapses faster now. Electrons are forced into protons, forming neutrons. Neutrinos stream outward, ghostly particles carrying away energy in silence. This is real. This is happening, but it does not need to be loud. The star is becoming something new. At the center, the collapse slows abruptly, stopped by the incompressibility of neutron matter. It is as if the universe has found a flaw it cannot pass through, no matter how much weight it brings. For a brief suspended moment, everything pauses. Gravity has gathered all it can. Matter has yielded all it can. And in that stillness, the universe prepares to release what has been held. You may feel your own body echoing this moment. A pause between breaths. A quiet suspension where nothing moves, and yet everything is about to change. Stay there for a moment. In the pause, in the gathered silence. Because from this remembered gravity, from this inward folding, something luminous is about to unfold. And perhaps even now the star is learning what it means to let go, the way you do when sleep finally arrives. The pause does not last long. It never does. From the stillness at the center, where gravity has gathered everything it can remember, a response rises. Not a decision, not an impulse, a physical reply written into the fabric of matter itself. The inward fall meets resistance. Neutrons, pressed shoulder to shoulder, refuse to compress further. The core stiffens. suddenly solid in a way the star has never known, and gravity, having leaned inward for so long, finds that it has reached a limit. What happens next is not anger, it is recoil. The collapsing material strikes this dense core and rebounds. A shock wave forms, like a deep ripple moving outward through layers that are already falling in. For a brief moment, inward and outward, motions collide, not violently, but decisively. And then the star opens. Energy that has been trapped and concentrated is released all at once, not as a sharp blast, but as a vast unfolding. Heat surges outward, light follows. Matter is lifted and carried away on a wave that spreads through the star's outer layers and into space. This is the supernova. From far away, it appears a sudden brilliance, a star brightening beyond reason, briefly outshining the galaxy that holds it. But from here, from this quiet distance where we're listening rather than measuring, it feels more like a deep breath finally let go. Imagine holding your breath for a long time, without panic, without fear, just holding. And then imagine the relief of release. The chest softens, air rushes out. The body remembers how to move again. The star is remembering how to open. Light floods outward in all directions, racing ahead of the expanding material. It is warm light, young light, carrying the story of immense pressure suddenly set free. The darkness around it does not resist. Space receives the light easily, letting it spread, letting it thin. Sound, if it could exist here, would not be a bang. It would be a low, rolling resonance, felt through distance rather than heard, a vibration that passes through the universe like a slow bell. Within this luminous wave, something rare and beautiful happens. The pressure and heat are so intense that new elements are formed, not gradually, not patiently, but in a brief, powerful moment. Iron is scattered. Gold is born. Atoms heavy enough to build planets, bones and blood are forged and released. This is true, and it is astonishing, even when whispered. The matter that once made up the star's outer layers is carried outward, expanding into a glowing shell. It glows red, then orange, then fades toward cooler hues as it spreads and cools. The cloud grows larger, more transparent, more diffuse, until it becomes a nebula, drifting quietly through the galaxy. Creation here is not tidy, but it is generous. The star gives itself to space. Space accepts. As the expanding light thins, your attention is drawn inward again, toward the place where the explosion did not empty everything. Toward the center that remains, steady and unmoved by the outward rush. The brightness does not vanish all at once. It lingers, like embers after a fire has burned through its fuel. Colors soften, edges blur. The universe seems to dim the light slowly, respectfully. Stars nearby reappear, unchanged. Continuing their own long balances, the galaxy resumes its quiet turning. From far away, the supernova becomes just another faint mark in the dark, another story written into light. But here, close to the heart of it, something new has settled into place. The collapse has ended, the release has passed. What remains is small, dense, and silent. The light that once defined the star now lives elsewhere, travelling outward, seeding distant places, perhaps one day becoming part of a world that learns how to look up and wonder, and the centre, having given all it could, rests. This is the strange mercy of the universe. Nothing is wasted. Energy changes form. Matter finds new arrangements. Even the most dramatic endings are also acts of distribution. You can feel the pace slowing again now. The wave has passed. The universe returns to its natural hush. Expansion gives way to stillness. Brightness gives way to presence. The star has broken open into light, and then, just as gently, it has grown quiet. At the centre of the fading glow, something waits, not empty, not broken. Waiting, the way a deep place waits, the way sleep waits after a long and vivid day. And perhaps, as the last warmth drifts outward into the cold, the universe learns again how to hold both brilliance and silence in the same breath. The light has moved on now. What once filled the dark with colour and motion has thinned into distance, becoming a memory written across space. The expanding cloud continues outward, cooling, fading, loosening its grip on brightness, and with its passing, a deeper quiet settles in. Your awareness drifts inward, naturally. The way attention follows the slow pull of gravity itself. At the centre, something remains. It does not glow the way the star once did. It does not spread. It does not announce itself. It simply exists. This is the core that stayed behind when everything else was released. A remnant, yes, but not a fragment. Not debris. It is whole in its own way, complete in a form that no longer needs to expand to be real. Gravity has gathered matter here into a state so dense that familiar words struggle to hold it. Atoms have been pressed past their usual boundaries. The space that once lived between particles has almost entirely vanished. Under this immense pressure, electrons have been pushed into protons. They merge quietly, surrendering their identities. What remains are neutrons, neutral and compact, packed together in an intimacy that leaves no room for motion as we know it. This is not metaphor. It is physics, spoken softly. A neutron star is born. It is small, no larger than a city, yet it holds more mass than the sun once did. If you could hold a teaspoon of its material, it would weigh billions of tons on Earth. The number is almost meaningless at human scale, so it is better felt than understood. It is weight without strain, density without collapse. Imagine something impossibly heavy that does not fall. Imagine pressure so complete it becomes stillness. The surface of this neutron star is smooth and crystalline, locked into place by gravity's unwavering grip. Beneath it, heat remains, trapped and immense, but unable to escape easily. Energy moves slowly here, finding few paths outward. Sound does not travel. Vibration has nowhere to go. The universe grows quiet around this object, as if acknowledging the seriousness of what has formed. Space itself curves gently in response, bending slightly, like fabric settling under a carefully placed stone. Time, too, responds. Near the surface of a neutron star, time passes more slowly than it does far away. This is a subtle truth of relativity, offered without spectacle. Clocks tick differently here. Moments stretch, not dramatically, but enough to matter. The universe adjusts itself around what remains, and still there is motion. The neutron star spins. As the original star collapsed, it conserved its angular momentum, tightening its rotation in the way a figure skater spins faster when drawing their arms inward. What was once a slow, stately turn becomes a precise, rapid rotation. Yet it does not feel frantic, it feels exact. The neutron star turns in the dark again and again, a quiet keeper of momentum. Its rotation is a memory of the star that came before, preserved not in light, but in motion. You can imagine floating nearby, at a respectful distance, not pulled in, not pushed away. From here, The neutron star feels less like an object and more like a presence, something compact and attentive, holding itself together with perfect focus. There is comfort in that. After all the release, all the brightness, all the outward giving, something has been allowed to remain. Something has been allowed to rest without dispersing. You may feel a gentle resonance with this idea. After moments of intensity, after long periods of effort or emotion, there is often a quieter centre inside you that remains untouched. A place that does not need to explain itself, a place that holds. The neutron star is like that place. Light from distant stars passes near it and bends slightly, redirected by gravity's depth. Even passing photons acknowledge its presence, curving their paths in subtle arcs. Nothing collides, nothing rushes, everything responds. The dark around it feels thicker now, not empty, but held, as if space itself has learned how to be more attentive. This object does not demand to be seen, does not compete for brightness. It has already given everything it could give outward. Now it keeps what remains, carefully, completely. The explosion is over, the expansion has passed. What remains is endurance. The neutron star continues to spin, quietly marking time in a place where time moves differently. It carries the memory of immense pressure, of collapse and release, of transformation accepted rather than resisted. And as it turns, alone yet complete, the universe seems to lower its voice once more, as if honouring the quiet strength of something that has survived change not by shining, but by holding itself together in perfect, unwavering stillness. And perhaps, somewhere within that dense silence, matter learns that rest does not mean disappearance, only a deeper way of staying. The neutron star turns, again and again. At first the motion feels almost imagined, like something you sense rather than see. The darkness around it is deep, unlit, and without reference points. Yet the rotation is real, precise, unwavering, carried forward by the memory of collapse. As you stay with it, listening the way you've learned to listen, you begin to notice something else, not light exactly, not sound, a rhythm, a presence that repeats. The neutron star is silent in the way a held breath is silent, dense, focused, full of contained energy. But silence in the universe is rarely empty. It often hides structure, waiting to be noticed gently. Wrapped tightly around the neutron star is an intense magnetic field, far stronger than anything naturally found on Earth. It is a true thing, though the words barely hold it. The magnetic field is born from the star's rotation and density, lines of force anchored into matter that refuses to spread out. These invisible lines stretch outward into space, curving, looping, reaching far beyond the star's surface. They shape the region around it, organizing charged particles, guiding motion, giving form to what would otherwise drift. Along these magnetic paths, energy moves. As the neutron star spins, beams of radiation emerge from its magnetic poles, not in all directions, not as a glow, as narrow, focused streams sweeping through space like the slow turn of a lighthouse. Light, radio waves, X-rays, all ride in the same steady rhythm. This is a pulsar. From far away, from a safe distance where no harm can reach, the neutron star becomes a pulse, a repeating signal, on, off, as regular as a heartbeat, as faithful as breath. Some pulses spin slowly, taking seconds to complete a turn. Others rotate hundreds of times each second, astonishingly fast. Yet even that speed feels calm when framed as rhythm rather than urgency. Because rhythm is not about speed, it is about reliability. Imagine lying in the dark, eyes closed, and noticing your own heartbeat. At first, it may seem loud, insistent, but as you relax, it becomes a background comfort, a sign that something inside you is working steadily without needing your attention. The pulsar is like that. Across vast distances its pulse travels. 1, 2, 3, never missing a beat. So precise that scientists use pulsars as cosmic clocks, measuring time with extraordinary accuracy. This too is true. A star, long after its light has faded, becomes a keeper of time. You don't need to think about that deeply. You can simply feel the steadiness of it. The reassurance of repetition, the way the universe seems to hum quietly to itself, keeping count without anxiety. The pulse moves through space like a whisper. It doesn't shout. It does not demand. It simply arrives again and again, carrying the story of a dense object turning in the dark. Light flashes briefly, then disappears. Darkness returns, then light again. This pattern is soothing, predictable, almost hypnotic. You may notice your breath beginning to mirror it. In, out, in, out. Not because you're trying to synchronize, because bodies are good at finding rhythm when one is offered. The neutron star does not know it is sending a signal. It is not communicating. It is simply existing according to the laws that shaped it. Rotation plus magnetism equals pulse. No intention required, and yet that pulse crosses unimaginable distances. It passes through dust, through empty regions, through the faint glow of galaxies. It arrives at distant instruments. It arrives perhaps at nothing at all. Still, it keeps going. There is something deeply comforting about this. The idea that even in the aftermath of tremendous change, something remains not only intact, but ordered. Something that repeats calmly, long after the dramatic moment has passed. The universe does not forget how to be rhythmic. As the pulsar turns, particles near its surface are accelerated along magnetic lines, gaining energy, releasing radiation. This happens continuously, effortlessly, like water following a slope. Energy flows where the structure allows it to flow. Nothing strains, nothing resists. You can imagine the space around the neutron star filled with a faint structured glow, not bright enough to disturb the dark. Just enough to trace invisible paths, like moonlight catching threads of mist. The pulse does not care if it is observed. It does not care if it is named. It simply is. And in that simplicity, it becomes one of the most reliable phenomena in the cosmos. A reminder that after chaos, order often follows. After brilliance, rhythm. After expansion, repetition. Your body understands this sequence. After excitement comes fatigue. After emotion comes calm. After a long day comes night. Now, as you rest, you are moving into that part of the cycle, the part where thinking softens and repetition becomes a lullaby. The pulse's steady turning offers your mind something to rest against, a pattern that does not require interpretation, a signal that does not ask for response, just a beat, then another. If thoughts arise, let them drift between pulses. If images form, let them fade gently with the dark between flashes. There is no need to hold on to anything now. The universe is keeping time for you. The neutron star continues its rotation, marking moments with light that barely touches the surrounding space, a quiet metronome in the deep, and perhaps, as that pulse travels on, The silence between each beat becomes more important than the beat itself, a space where nothing happens and nothing needs to. The silence grows softer, the rhythm grows slower in your perception, and somewhere beneath that silence, beneath the pulse, there is a deeper stillness waiting, a place where even rhythm can finally rest, and the universe can simply breathe, slowly, alongside you. The pulse continues for a while, steady, faithful. Then, without stopping, it seems to soften in your awareness, as if your attention has moved slightly farther away, or slightly deeper inward. The rhythm does not vanish, it simply becomes part of the background, like the sound of wind you no longer notice once sleep draws closer. And in that softened space, something else becomes perceptible. Weight. Not the kind that strains muscles or presses painfully on joints, a different kind of weight, the kind that anchors, the kind that makes drifting unnecessary. Near the neutron star, gravity is immense, not dramatic, not roaring, just profoundly present. Space itself responds to it, curving gently, like fabric settling under a carefully placed stone. This is not metaphor alone, it is a quiet truth of the universe. Mass tells space how to curve. Curved space tells matter how to move. Near this dense remnant, the universe bends. You don't need to picture equations or grids. You can imagine a soft surface, smooth and dark, dipping slightly where the neutron star rests. Everything nearby follows that dip naturally, without force. Motion becomes easier in certain directions. Paths curve, time stretches, time. Here, time behaves differently. This is another true thing offered gently. Clocks near a neutron star tick more slowly than clocks far away. Not enough for a human to feel, but enough to matter to the universe. Enough to be measured, enough to be real. Time slows in deep gravity. It does not stop. It does not break. It eases. Imagine time as a river flowing through space. Far away it moves at a steady pace, gliding past stones and banks. Near the neutron star, the river widens, deepens. The current slows, spreading out, becoming more deliberate. Moments linger here. The neutron star does not rush through its existence. It inhabits time the way a mountain inhabits weather, patiently, unmoved by passing storms, fully present. You may notice your own sense of time beginning to blur as you listen. Seconds stretch. Thoughts lose their sharp edges. The exact sequence of ideas matters less than the feeling they leave behind. This is natural. Your nervous system responds to stillness the way space-time responds to mass. It curves toward rest. Near the neutron star, gravity is so strong that even light struggles slightly as it climbs away. Photons lose a bit of energy escaping that deep well, shifting toward redder wavelengths. This is called gravitational redshift, though you don't need the name. You can imagine it as light growing tired, not exhausted, just softened by the effort of leaving. Everything near this object moves with intention, not haste. The surface of the neutron star is a strange place, solid, smooth, unimaginably dense. Mountains there would be millimeters tall, crushed flat by gravity. The landscape is subtle, almost perfectly even. Irregularities do not last long under such weight. There is something calming about that idea, that under enough gravity sharp edges are smoothed, peaks are lowered, everything is encouraged toward equilibrium. You may feel that happening now inside your own body. Tension flattening, thoughts smoothing, the small spikes of worry losing their height. Your breathing is slower, your muscles are quieter. The neutron star rests in its gravity the way you rest in your bed. Fully supported, fully held. It does not need to prove its existence. Its mass is enough. Its presence shapes everything around it. Time near the neutron star stretches like warm fabric, not snapping, not tearing, just settling into a deeper drape. Moments become wider, less crowded. This is the shape of rest, not emptiness, not absence, but spaciousness. The universe does not hurry here. There is no need. Everything that happens does so at exactly the pace allowed by physics, which is often slower than the mind expects and faster than fear imagines. As you drift alongside this dense object, you can let your own timeline loosen. Tomorrow does not need to arrive yet. Yesterday does not need to explain itself. There is only this slow now, gently curved by attention and breath. You might imagine lying near the neutron star, not close enough to be pulled in, but close enough to feel its calm gravity. It does not grab, it invites. It says, without words, that holding can be effortless. Gravity here does not feel like falling, it feels like belonging. You are allowed to belong to rest. The pulse from earlier still exists, still marking time somewhere beyond your awareness. But here, in this deeper gravity, repetition fades, measurement fades, only continuity remains. Time becomes less about sequence and more about presence. You don't need to track how long you've been listening. You don't need to remember what came before. The universe is very good at carrying continuity without your help. Near the neutron star, even chaos has already passed. The explosion is long over. The brightness has dispersed. What remains is structure, stability, and deep quiet. This is what comes after intensity, after brilliance, after change. The shape of rest is not nothing. It is a form, a state, a gentle arrangement of matter and time that allows everything else to soften around it. As your body settles further into stillness, you may notice the weight of your blanket more clearly, not heavy, comforting, anchoring. A reminder that gravity is already holding you right here on Earth with a strength perfectly tuned to life. The same force that shaped stars, that collapsed matter into neutron density, is the force that keeps you from drifting away. Gravity is not an enemy. It is a companion that never leaves. Tonight, it is helping you rest. Let your thoughts sink the way time sinks near the neutron star. Let them spread out, slow down, lose urgency. You don't need sharp focus now. Soft awareness is enough. The universe is wide, time is deep, and rest has a shape. It curves gently around you, and perhaps as time eases and weight becomes comfort, the universe lies down too, folding moments into one another and teaching even the densest things how to be still. The sense of weight remains, but it no longer presses. It simply holds. Time, already softened, begins to lose its edges entirely. The idea of before and after grows faint, like footprints filling with wind-blown sand. You're no longer moving toward understanding. Understanding is moving away from you, gently, without resistance. And this feels right. Near the neutron star, mystery returns not as a question, but as atmosphere, something you breathe rather than solve. The universe here does not explain itself. It hums, it rests, it allows things to be felt without being named. There are still forces at work. Magnetic fields coil invisibly through space. Ripples of gravity pass outward, faint echoes of ancient motion. But they no longer ask for attention. You might imagine the neutron star now as a dark pearl turning slowly in a sea of quiet. Its pulse is still there, somewhere, but it has drifted beyond focus, like a clock ticking in another room. You know it continues, yet you don't need to hear it. This is the edge of knowing, a place where facts loosen their grip and become sensations, where science does not disappear but becomes texture instead of instruction. The magnetic field around the neutron star stretches far, shaping space gently. Charged particles follow its curves like leaves following a slow river. These motions are real, measurable, precise, and yet from here they feel dreamlike, almost symbolic. The universe does not mind this softness. It does not require clarity at every moment. You may notice your thoughts behaving differently now. They arise more slowly. They dissolve before finishing themselves. Some arrive without words at all, just impressions, images, feelings without labels. This is not confusion. This is descent. The kind that happens naturally, the way dusk becomes night without announcing the exact moment it changes. The neutron star drifts farther from your attention, not because it has moved, but because your awareness has widened. When awareness widens, details become less sharp. Boundaries blur. Everything feels farther away and closer at the same time. Distance becomes gentle. You might sense the vastness of space now, not as emptiness, but as a deep, open presence. A place where nothing needs to happen for meaning to exist. A place where stillness is enough. The universe is very comfortable with not knowing. It existed for billions of years before anyone tried to name it. Gravity waves pass through this region, stretching and compressing space by the smallest amounts, carrying news of distant collisions, distant dances. They move through everything without asking permission, through stars, through planets, through you. You don't feel them. You don't need to. It is enough to know that the universe communicates quietly, continuously, in ways that do not disturb sleep. Here, near the edge of knowing, effort dissolves. The need to follow a story loosens. The mind stops reaching forward. It begins to float. You can let images drift now. The neutron star becomes less defined. Its edges soften. Its weight becomes a suggestion rather than a force. Perhaps it turns into a dark moon. Perhaps into a smooth stone at the bottom of a lake. Perhaps into nothing in particular. All are acceptable. The universe does not insist on accuracy at this depth. It values rest more. Your breathing is shallow now, easy. Muscles that once held tension have forgotten why. The body knows this state well. It has practiced it every night since you were born. The night recognizes you. Thoughts thin further. The last traces of explanation fade like chalk washed from a board. What remains is sensation without story. A sense of drifting. A sense of being carried. The neutron star is still there, somewhere, continuing its quiet existence, shaping space, holding mass, keeping time in ways you no longer need to follow. It does not disappear, it simply leaves your focus, and that is allowed. You are crossing from curiosity into acceptance, from awareness into ease, from knowing into being. There is nothing more you need to understand tonight. The universe has already done the understanding for you. It has arranged itself into laws and rhythms that continue whether you watch them or not. You can rest inside that trust. As the dark grows deeper, even the idea of a neutron star becomes just another gentle shape dissolving into the background of sleep. The story loosens its hold. The thread thins. What remains is a quiet openness, wide enough to hold dreams before they form. And perhaps, somewhere at the edge of knowing, the universe smiles softly. content to be felt rather than explained, as everything drifts slowly into rest. The drifting continues, but now even the sense of drifting begins to soften. Motion becomes suggestion. Direction becomes unnecessary. What once felt like space now feels like openness. What once felt like time now feels like a long, gentle breath that never quite ends. The universe grows quiet again, not suddenly, not completely. Quiet the way a room becomes quiet after everyone has gone to sleep. Quiet with life still inside it. Quiet with systems still turning, but without urgency, without edges. You may notice how little effort it takes to remain here, how nothing is pulling at you anymore. No questions asking to be answered, no images demanding to be held in place. Just presence. The air around you feels softer now. Even if the temperature hasn't changed, it seems to move differently against your skin. As if it has learned your shape, as if it knows how to pass around you without disturbing anything. Your breathing has found a rhythm so subtle it almost disappears. In, then out. Or perhaps out, then in. It no longer matters which comes first. The body knows the sequence. The mind does not need to supervise. Far away, beyond thought, the neutron star continues its existence. Still dense, still turning, still bending space and time in its quiet way. But it no longer feels separate from you. Distance has dissolved. The same gravity that shaped stars shapes sleep. The same patience that allowed matter to become light allows thought to become silence. The same universe that learned how to explode without cruelty learned how to rest without vanishing. You are inside that universe now, not observing it, belonging to it. The night sky from the beginning returns, but changed. Softer, less detailed. The stars are no longer points to focus on. They are part of a dark fabric that wraps gently around everything. The hum that was once outside you feels closer, almost internal, like the faint sound you hear when the world goes quiet and you realize your own body has a tone, a low living resonance. This hum does not mean anything. It does not need to. It is simply the sound of systems continuing, of atoms holding together, of gravity doing what it has always done, without instruction. You might feel your thoughts attempting one last time to form an image, or a sentence, or a conclusion. You don't need to stop them. You don't need to follow them either. They can dissolve on their own, the way mist dissolves when the sun rises, without anyone telling it how. The universe does not conclude. It continues, and tonight, continuation means rest. Your body is heavy in the best way, supported, held. The bed beneath you is no longer an object. It is a place, a stable field where nothing needs to move. Your face is soft. Your jaw hangs slightly open. Your brow is smooth. These are small signs, but they matter. They are the body's way of saying it trusts this moment. Time has loosened completely now. There is no need to mark it. No need to remember how long you've been here. No need to anticipate what comes next. The universe is very good at what comes next. It does not need help. Somewhere, stars are still being born. Somewhere else, stars are ending. Somewhere else, remnants like neutron stars are spinning in darkness, steady and precise. All of this continues without disturbing your rest. You're allowed to sleep through it. The night listens, as it did at the beginning, but now it listens from inside you. The quiet has moved inward. The sky has folded itself into breath, into warmth, into weight. The air hums softly, not around you, within you, and still the air hums. There is nothing left to imagine, nothing left to understand, only the slow, natural settling of awareness into the place it goes when it no longer needs to be awake. The universe does not disappear when you sleep. It keeps watch, and as you drift beyond words, beyond images, beyond even the sense of drifting, everything remains exactly where it should be, quiet, held at rest, and everything for now is still.